Tony, so excited to have you here. Thanks.
Absolutely. Me too, Trisha.
Great. So, I'm going to ask you a few questions about the program.
Shoot.
Question number one, here we go. How did you struggle with your health right before you joined the program? And how did you feel in your day-to-day life during that time right before you joined?
Wow. So that was about what, 3 months ago? I'm trying
Mhm.
to like put myself back in those shoes. I think I was at like a low. I think I was depressed and feeling almost like hopeless in a sense. The For me, the motivation in joining the program was to kind of help to cure or at least like dramatically improve chronic headaches and migraines that I was getting. And they had grown to. I was on a daily preventative medication, and the frequency of the headaches was steadily going up, and it meant that I couldn't do all of the things that I really wanted to do, and was like dying to do, like fun stuff. And it also meant that I couldn't work at the level that I needed to work, and so that was sort of becoming a problem. And I didn't have any other options. I had tried the daily medicine route. I had tried several different prescriptions. They all were terrible in ways that we can get into. And I had tried to do stuff with food myself, and hadn't really been able to sustain that. And so I was in a state of pretty close to hopelessness. And then it sort of like popped up in my head to reach out to you. We had had a couple conversations about some stuff, and you were like, yeah, like answer some questions, and I'll be able to give you some insight. And then I hopped on a strategy call with you, and you gave me more clarity in that. Like, I think we were like there for about an hour, and like I had more clarity from meeting with you than 20 doctors and neurologists that I had appointments with. So that was pretty great.
And you had been struggling with migraines for a long time, is that correct?
Yeah, 15 years or so. So, half of my life.
And you try the pretty traditional go to the doctor route, do the medication type thing. And even though you were on medication to help with the migraines, it wasn't helping in the way that you needed because it was preventing you from being
Yeah.
the best awesome Tony possible. Would you agree with that?
Yes, for sure. Well, and like I kind of knew that going on to the prescription. I was on that prescription for a long period of time earlier in my life, over 5 years. And so I knew exactly what was going to happen, that I was going to have terrible side effects, and that it was going to help the migraines, and then it would not help them as much. And then I would have to increase the dosage of that medication. And that was kind of the deal with the devil that I made at the beginning of 2017, because I needed some relief. I couldn't function. And so that was what I went back to. But then as I was on that, and sort of leading up to like the sort of 10 months that I was on that before I started working with you, I became less and less willing to just like keep going on that merry-go-round of increasing the dosage. So that was the struggle. Is at some point in time I had to say enough's enough.
Yeah. So then you decided to join the program. You were a great fit for the program.
Hmm.
So you are now at the end of your 3 months. So what do you feel like you've accomplished since working together?
Yeah, well, so a couple of on I'll separate them a little bit, if that's okay,
Of
from
course.
the medical kind of accomplishments, and then like the lifestyle accomplishments. Um, I almost wish we had a video on the lifestyle accomplishments of like what I looked like 3 months ago, because like I'm comparing things now, and I look really good right now.
Yeah, you do.
I have Suzanne, my fiance, like rolls her eyes at me when I'll put on a pair of pants, and that are like so baggy that I can stick like my arms all the way like in like the waist, and there's still extra room, but that's
But those
neither here
are the
nor there.
pants that fit you 3 months ago.
Or the pants that were tight 3 months ago. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
your goal wasn't even weight loss. That
No,
was
no,
like
not at all.
a side effect
Right.
of just eating optimally for Tony.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'll dive into some of those lifestyle benefits, but for me, the medical benefits are a few things. I'm now at a rate of around half the migraines that I was getting, around half the frequency. Some weeks a little bit less, but like we could even round up to say a half
Yeah.
of where they were before I started working with you, which is impressive in and of itself. But the other really big accomplishment is that I'm completely off of all migraine medicines, preventative, or like I'm completely drug free, which is a really good feeling. Was not an easy process to get there, but we can talk about that. I think that your help made it a lot easier.
Yeah. So how did the program help you get from being on a challenging, it was a psychiatric medication that you were on to manage migraines,
Right.
not a psychiatric issue, but
Mm-hmm.
some medications are used dually
Yep.
or many different reasons. So how did the program help you go from being on a psychiatric drug every day that nobody, in case you're watching this video, no one should ever just abruptly stop taking those drugs ever,
Right.
because it can induce psychosis, and a lot of really challenging, scary things can happen.
Yeah.
So how did the program help you achieve that goal for yourself?
Yeah. So in a couple of ways, so when I came into the program, we kind of mapped out. We got on a call and kind of planned out, exactly what I needed, exactly what the struggles were. You shared a whole bunch of research and specific stuff to my situation, which was super helpful. And then I was able to kind of take that and with that we were able to kind of craft the plan of what needed to happen. So for one, that was a huge kind of way that the program helped me, was having that plan and having you're very research based. So you don't just throw something out there because you think it's a good thing. Like, you actually share the research and the articles and the literature. And so I had a plan that was well backed up with supportive material for me to continue to educate myself in. And you weren't, saying, "Hey, Tony, here's what you need to do." You were saying, "Hey, here's the research. What do you want to do? What are you comfortable with?"
Yeah.
It was very it was very, very easy to figure that out together. So I think that was the first thing. Just having that plan's huge.
Yeah. And then also, just to interrupt real quick,
Yeah.
it was also, just for clarity for the person watching this, is for you to be able to take that to your doctor and do the tapering with your doctor, because legally that's
Yes.
I can't do. However, I can
Right.
provide you support and information you need to get the type of help that you need from the right people.
Yeah, and I think that's a really great clarification too, in that I think one of the really one of the beneficial parts. I mean, I happen to have really great relationships with several of the doctors that I saw, but you were able to kind of take me through that research based path, and then give me all of the tools so that I could have these conversations with my doctor. Give me all of the questions, all of the the background, so that I could read and be ready, so that if that was an uphill battle with my doctor, then that was that much easier. I was that much more prepared and ready.
Great.
Yeah, so it was huge. And then separate from the medication end, separate from the helping me kind of manage those doctor relationships, there was the your program with food, and so helping me to understand the really great and funny videos that you have. I don't know if everybody finds them funny, but I found them to be
I
very,
hope
very
so.
entertaining. And so they were a lot of fun so that, we could learn, just what was eating optimally. And, you kind of helped to dispel a lot of the rumors and myths and things that I thought I knew that I really didn't know. And, again, all with that research-based, research-backed, recommendations. And then getting into the other thing, which I think was, this is what always held me back. I'm a pretty good cook, and I really enjoy it. And my fiance Suzanne likes to help out in the kitchen too. But we didn't have I'm like a systems guy. Like I'm like a business structure and systems guy, and we didn't have a system for how to do meal planning effectively. So whenever we would go food shopping, we would end up wasting a lot of food. We would end up getting what looked good in the store, but we didn't have a plan for how we were going to cook it or for when we were going to eat those things throughout the week. And so we kind of got to become immersed in the program that gave us all those tools. So I think probably by week one, we kind of struggled along because I was hell bent not to eat anything that wasn't on my yes list. I was super motivated. There's nothing like being in a state of deep frustration and depression that will really make you motivated. And so I was not going to do that. So that was a tougher week for me as I was trying to learn what I could eat and how to find things. But then by week 2, we were in, meal planning. I think we actually had a trip the second week. So we did meal planning and cooking food to take with us. And it was just baptism by fire. We were in it. And, now I can't even imagine not having a refrigerator that's stocked of food that we can heat up in, 5 minutes, or that, things that are, sitting there on the counter ready to grab that are baked, that look like cookies or muffins, but yet they're really good for us to eat. And, we made them ourselves and they taste fantastic. Yeah. They look like that, but they're, healthy. And we've started playing this game with our friends and family, especially over we're recording this, right after the holidays.
Right.
And we started playing this game where we made like black bean brownies. And so we took them to our nieces and nephews, right? And they're loving them. They're like, oh my gosh, these taste just like fudge. Their mom's like, well, don't have too many of those. And then after everybody eats them, we're like, now, do you want to know what's in these? And then we tell them about all of the super healthy stuff. And it's a shock because they're just not used to, cooking that way. And, neither were we, neither was I.
Or healthy food actually tasting good.
Right.
Okay. So
yeah.
I asked, where are you 3 months later? So it sounds like frequency of migraines are down about 50%.
Yes.
How about severity?
Severity's down even more than that. I would say that the severity is probably down to a third of, what they were. I will still occasionally get a really bad one. And, I think some of that's just a matter of the amount of time that I've been able to, be eating this way. Combined with the fact that, I'm still surprised it's only been about 5 weeks since I completely went off of the drugs.
Right.
And so that's not a lot of time in the scheme of things. So that's about where they are right now.
Great. So significant improvements in migraines,
Yep.
Getting off medication that has challenging side effects that you were experiencing, but also long-term risks and effects that you were concerned about later down the line. And then unintentionally dropped about 3 pant sizes.
Yes.
At the same time. Anything else to add? And if not, that's cool. But anything else?
Well, I think I think the biggest thing for me, and I think I wrote you a note to this effect. I think the biggest non-medical sort of benefit from the last 3 months is I love food and I don't feel bad. I eat until I'm full. And I never worry if I'm eating too much. I never feel guilty because I shouldn't have had something. I have weekly treats and I feel totally fine about those that, are not completely optimal, but are still, health filled or at least not, migraine triggers. So they're not, in that super bad category. And now I understand what those are. And so like life's pretty great because I didn't even realize until I started eating this way, just how guilty I felt like on a daily basis from, eating something and then, getting the cheese, and because I wanted it to, taste good, and it didn't without the cheese, as an example. And then I would feel guilty, for the rest of the day. And so now I just eat, and I just eat great food all the time.
And so the guilt's gone, and you eat
Yeah.
into your pool, and you eat as much as you want whenever you want,
Yeah.
but it's helping you.
Right. Right.
That's
Yeah.
personally my favorite part. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I feel amazing
Good. That makes
is
me
the thing, like super,
so happy.
super high, far higher energy levels. I just feel great.
So what has this meant for like your life and your business and the things that you love to do? So like
Yeah.
all the results are awesome, but
Hmm.
how has that improved your life as Tony?
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest thing for me is that I don't really have debilitating migraines anymore. So, as we talk about the frequency and the severity, there's nothing that simple, like that, like a pain pill, like won't solve. So, like I'm not like down for a day or three at a time in the same way that I used to be. So, as I look at what that does for my life and for my business, as you say, I mean, it's
Yeah.
huge. It is absolutely huge. It is, it has saved me. Being where I am now has saved me from, what I was looking at 3 months ago was, if I can't find a solution, like if I can't find this like last ditch kind of effort to, make something work, then I'm going to have to do something else. I'm going to have to, put my business on hold. I'm going to have to, look for a job because I can't keep everything moving myself, when I'm in this mode. And those weren't things that I talked about a lot, and, nor were they things that I was excited about. That was more so on the fear side, but it was very real. It wasn't an imaginary thing. I couldn't physically make it all work. And now I have 0 days that are, where I'm not able to, do everything that I need to in the day. So that's just phenomenal. Yeah.
That makes me so happy. It makes me so happy, man. What hesitations did you have about signing up and why?
For me, I wanted to make sure that my partner and fiance Suzanne was on board. I think that was about my only hesitation. She wasn't asking for a diet and a lifestyle shift. Now, the
Yeah.
same things that we've done have been really good for her for a different set of reasons than me. And she just loves you too. Just as much as I do. But I wanted to make sure that she was on the same page, because I think food is one of those tricky things where, when there are other people who frequently eat together, and I mean, we eat together, 90% of the time. It's, I'm asking her to change things, even if it's just a little bit, even if she's eating foods that I wouldn't, it's still a shift. And I think that she was a little bit reluctant, but she's a super supportive partner. And so she jumped in with both feet, and she's been loving, like, learning how to cook new things and learning new techniques. We cooked, like we had family over during the, holidays, and we cooked together. And I think it's that, aside from the types of foods that we're eating now, that was like one of our goals, is we wanted to, stop get home at 5:30 and then decide like where we order takeout or delivery from, and like get into the mode of like actually cooking and doing those things together. And so we've been able to, do that, as well. I think that, your question was around what hesitation. And I think for me, that was the only one. There was no, I knew you well enough to know that I trusted you completely. So, I think us getting to know each other, over a few months preceding that was that certainly helped that, comfort level for me.
Yeah.
And I had I would have walked over hot coals, like I would have chopped off my left leg if you said that's what I had to do to make this stop, because I was out of options.
Yeah, and luckily no way was that what I was going to tell you to do at all.
Right. So, although,
Right.
had I would have been totally fine. I would have been like, okay, can we make sure the blade's sharp enough? And then let's go. So, that's where I was. And I imagine that, all kinds of people are going to be in a different spot. But
Yeah.
I would say, the knowing what I know now, if this ever, if you show this to, people, you can quote me on this, is, I would have wished that I had known you a year earlier and had done this before I was at that point where I would have been willing to do anything. Because I think once somebody's at that point, there are a lot of really scary and, dangerous things that they can do. So I'm super thrilled that I met you when I did, but if I had it to, if I could, send a message in a bottle back in time to myself, it would be to, do this a year earlier, sooner than the level of desperation that I was at.
Is that because you feel like you would have saved yourself pain?
Pain, time, lost time. Yeah. I mean, the whole, the whole, gamut.
Great.
Weight gain was one of the other side effects. And so that's some of why I lost as much as I did. A lot of that was going off of the drug, but I mean, just the side effects, weight gain, the mood swings that the medication caused, all of I mean, like the last year wasn't fun, in any way whatsoever. It was brutal.
I'm so glad you're in a better place now.
Yeah, me too.
I'm so happy. Tony, tell me, what did you like best about the program and what did you like least about the program?
So, best is I love food so much. And so I've always loved food, like from the time that I was a little kid. I would look forward to the next meal. Like that would be the thing that I would wake up thinking about. And while eating breakfast, I would be like, okay, what's going to be for lunch? And, then let's plan that out. So I've always loved food. And now my love is deeper and unconditional. I don't have the love-hate relationship with food.
That's so awesome to hear, because I feel it's so rare when someone learns to change their diet to improve their health that they have a deeper love for food.
Yeah, sure.
It's the complete opposite for most people. So
yeah,
that's awesome. That's really awesome.
And even the couple of times when we've gone off of the diet, we've gone off of this, this way of eating because we've been somewhere, or we've made that intentional decision to go back to the old way. I mean, it was fine.
Yeah.
Suzanne had a piece of cake, over she had a piece of regular cake, not a cake that we would make.
Right.
Through the holidays. And we were talking about it afterwards. I had a bite as well. And we were talking about it and it didn't really taste all that good. Yep. And I think that's because, we love the food that we make now. So I think that's, I think that's my favorite part. I think having the tools and the knowledge so that we can consistently eat food and as much of it as we want that we love is just an amazing thing.
And what did you like least about the program? I have a hunch, but I want to see what you say.
Yeah. I think least is the daily tracking, the food journal and stuff like that. I was all gung ho. I was 110% in for the first 6 weeks. And then it just became harder. There was just more friction, for me to, record every little bit. So I would say that that's the least, although, I think that for me, it was important to me to do it. Just like I said, that I was at the point where I would do anything, that, having your help, with the food journaling, and the feedback and the ability to, keep that two-way communication going. That was priceless. And, quite honestly, a lot better. I have family members that are working with, different nutritionists, or, people on different things. And I, like now I ask more questions because I'm nosy. And they have a meeting with them, or like an appointment every 2 weeks or something. They don't have the kind of relationship that, you give to your clients, where, when we need something, we put a note in there, and then we get a response back within a day or so. Or if we really need something, then we have, all those ways that we can reach out to you.
Call or text me. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's just huge. That's something that, no one has.
And just for the listener's sake, and I love that part of it too, because I love my clients. So like talking to you on a regular basis is a very fun thing for me. But what were you tracking and what was the importance of that? And you get to stop doing that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was, you have a food journal. So, tracking the food for, breakfast, lunch, dinners, snacks, mini meals, and, what's there. We don't count any calories. We don't have to list any weigh-ins. We don't have to, weigh our food before we eat it. My brother did that once. It just seemed, seemed like barbaric. Like it seemed cruel to have to, do that to food. Food's supposed to be eaten, not weighed.
So for us, it was important. So for potential triggers and if we
Right.
wanted to do an elimination diet, so I could best help you. And then we tracked your migraines as well to see
Yes.
Improvements there.
Right.
Would you recommend the program to other people and why or why not?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think I mean, on a professional level, I respect what you do so much. You are a pro through and through. And so, I mean, on that level, I would say absolutely, like Trisha's amazing. But of course, I knew that before I even came into the program, right? I knew, that you were great.
Thank you.
I think with the experience of the program, I would say, and I don't say this lightly, and I also don't mean to, say this hyperbolically. I know that I would have found something else, but you saved my life. Like you saved me from some really, really dark times. And actually, I'm tearing up a little bit. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Because, in thinking and remembering where I was, 3 months ago, it was absolutely brutal. And the level of appreciation for all of the help that you've given, to both Suzanne and I over the past 3 months, is just huge. And for me, the outcome from that, I feel like how I felt, like 10 years ago, like I feel like I have like so much energy and I have my life back. Which is really, really impactful. So yes, I would absolutely recommend the program to anyone and everyone.
You know what this is? Virtual hug.
Is this a Zoom hug?
Virtual hug. It's honestly, it's been such an honor. I can't even tell you.
Yeah, I am so super grateful. Because it has just been great, and because you have your stuff together. You have put a lot of work into building this program into what it is, and so that's what has made it so easy, I think, for us to really adopt these ways of eating and of living. So yeah, it's huge.
Last question, Tony. What are you most excited for about your life now that you are where you are moving forward? What are you most excited for your health and your life now that you've completed the program?
I think for life, I've always had really like lofty goals.
Love that.
Having a chronic migraine condition that had me down, in bed or, not able to, do anything for hours or days at a time. I think the longest was 9 days straight, a little bit earlier this year. So when you have that, you I had to learn very quickly to, press the pause button on the goals, because there's no point in focusing on that goal when I physically couldn't, take the steps, towards actually achieving that. And so I think, professionally and like life wise, I'm just really excited to like get back to, being able to have goals again and not needing to take it one day at a time. Because that's kind of what that, because that's what that disease necessitated, to, make it through. So that's huge. On the more personal side, I'm, now that we've been like cooking more, we have some like tentative plans to build a house within the next 2 years. And I have like all these notes on like what I want to be in the kitchen, and like for like these things that I want to, try. We're also getting married later this year. And so, like all kinds of cool stuff on the wedding registry, a French fry cutter, I think we put on the registry because you let us have French fries, which are amazing.
Let me know. Yeah. Optimal French fries. You let me know if you need any recommendations for some cooking stuff, and
You bet I will.
For sure.
Yeah. So that stuff's amazing. Like I'm just so looking forward to, being able to do that and having more, we did more entertaining this last, these last like 6 weeks at our house than I think we did in the entire year preceding. And so like just being able to do more of that, being able to, have good times with optimal food.
Great. So you can socialize and still eat food that really helps you and it's healthy and people like it and it doesn't totally like stop your life. That's great. It makes it better. Oh!
Also, it's really great to see the look on someone's face when you drown your plate in healthy, like in like healthy Alfredo sauce. And like they look at you. Yes, exactly. Or potatoes, or, like have half my plate be, pasta, and then like the other half be, great healthy vegetables. And for them to like look at that and say, how can you eat that many carbs, as they're, clutching their pearls?
Right. Yep.
And they still don't understand how how we're losing weight, while we eat all that wonderful stuff. Well, so that's fun.
You have the secret. So.
Yeah. Well, that's right.
Thank you, Tony. It's been such an honor, and I look forward to all the amazing things in life that you're going to kick ass with and accomplish. So
thank you so much
for this interview. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And again, thank you for everything. This has been amazing.
You're welcome.